Recent recommendations for dietary guidelines include lean meat as a footnote, and it also includes sustainability. We sit down with the Director of Agriculture, Greg Ibaugh, and he explains what he thinks about these guidelines. I guess we want to know your take on this. The main thing, obviously, they didn't really, lean meat was kind of taken out of it, not really in the forefront of the guidelines. Talk about your reaction to that, first of all.
Yeah, lean meat was relegated to kind of a footnote in the guidelines. It still, acknowledged that lean meat could be part of a healthy diet, but it wasn't in where we wanted it included and where science suggests it should be included. And then the committee also inserted sustainability.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, because that's one that really kind of gets people a little bit up in arms. Explain what they kind of crossed a line right there, right?
Yeah, so Congress has charged the committee with analyzing the science around nutrition and around health, and then coming up with dietary guidelines that they recommend to the Secretary of Agriculture and the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And the secretaries are completely, it's just recommendation. They can do what they want with those recommendations. But the committee, heard the science, and then at the very end of their deliberations, they inserted this sustainability discussion, which wasn't even part of the science that was presented.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of frustrating for you, right?
Well, it's especially frustrating because sustainability really isn't scientifically defined. Mm-hmm. And as you go out on the street and ask 10 people, and you would probably come up with 10 different definitions of what sustainability means to them. And I know when I go through the Hong Kong airport, there's a sign that says the most sustainable bank anywhere in the world, and how are banks sustainable? And
yeah, right.
And so to use that then as an argument about food consumption really was inappropriate.
It's that's more like politics rather than focusing on the science of it.
Right, we're really getting into environmental politics then when we start talking about that.
You get to meet the Farm Family of the Month, and we have your grow forecast coming up after the break.